Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Naishtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 18, Diti vows to kill King Indra. Text number 43 onwards. Pratishrutam dadamiti vachastanna vrisha bhavet vadam narhati chendropi tatra edam upkalpate. So Kashyap Muni was thinking, what did I do? Why did I give her this benediction? And now she's asking me to give her a son who would kill Indra. But then he thought for himself. Then he said, I promised to give her a benediction, and this promise cannot be violated. But Indra does not deserve to be killed. In these circumstances, the solution I have is quite suitable. So this is what Kashyap Muni thought, that I'm not going to let Indra get killed. So just like we studied that whatever she was asking, it could mean both ways. It could mean that she wanted a son who would kill Indra, or she wanted a son who would follow Indra. So Kashyap Muni concluded, Diti is eager to have a son who can kill Indra, since she is a woman, after all, and is not very intelligent. I shall train her in such a way that instead of always thinking of how to kill Indra, she will become a Vaishnava, a devotee of Krishna. If she agrees to follow the rules and regulations of the Vaishnava principles, the unclean core of her heart will certainly be cleansed. Cheto Dharvanamarjana. This is the process of devotional service. Anyone can be purified by following the principles of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. For Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it can purify even the dirtiest class of men and transform them into the topmost Vaishnavas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement aims at this purpose. So Kashyap Muni thought, let me give her some process by which to cleanse her mind, cleanse her consciousness, make her a devotee. And devotee doesn't envy anybody. Devotee doesn't think of bad for anybody, of killing anybody. They don't think of it like that. Narottam Das Thakur says, Vrajendra Nandani Jai Shachishuta Haile Sai Balarama Haile Nitai. Dina Hina Yatta Chillo Hari Nama Uddharilo Tara Sakshi Jagai Madai. The appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this Kali Yuga is especially meant to deliver the fallen souls who are always planning something for material enjoyment. He gave the people of this age the advantage of being able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and thus become fully pure, free from all material contamination. Once one becomes a pure Vaishnava, he transcends all material conceptions of life. Thus, Kashyap Muni tried to transform his wife into a Vaishnavi so that she might give up the idea of killing Indra. He wanted both her and her sons to be purified so that they would be fit to become pure Vaishnavas. Of course, sometimes a practitioner deviates from the Vaishnava principles and there is a chance that he may fall down. But Kashyap Muni thought that even if one falls while practicing the Vaishnava principles, he is still not a loser. Even a fallen Vaishnava is eligible for better results, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even practicing the Vaishnava principles to a small extent can save one from the greatest danger of material existence. Thus, Kashyap Muni planned to instruct his wife Diti to become a Vaishnava because he wanted to save the life of Indra. So this was his plan. that to let me make her a Vaishnavi, a devotee, and she will then naturally want to kill Indra. So this is just like Narad Muni. He preaches according to time, place, circumstance, according to the consciousness of the person he's preaching to. So, an ultimate aim is to make them devotees. Just like Narad Muni, when he preached to Valmiki, he preached, okay, you can't chant Rama, 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 just chant Mara, 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 Mara. So, ultimately it became Rama, Rama. So, similarly here, Kashyap Muni, he said, okay, instead of doing whatever she wanted, and they had already had bad experience earlier with Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and he didn't want to go the same route. So he thought, okay, let me make her a devotee first. And how to make her a devotee? You cannot, if somebody is so envious, you cannot preach to her directly. He could not. So he just went around in a different way. We'll see later. Iti sanchitya bhagavan marichah kurunandan uvacha kinchit kupita atmanam cha vigarhayan. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, Kashyap Muni, thinking in this way, became somewhat angry. Condemning himself, O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Kuru, he spoke to Diti as follows. Shri Kashyap Uvacha, Putraste Bhavita Bhadre, Indraha Deva Bandhva, Samvatsaram Vratam Idam Yad Yajyo Dharishyasi. Kashyap Muni said, my dear gentle wife, if you follow my instructions regarding this vow, for at least 1 year, you will surely get a son who will be able to kill Indra. However, if you deviate from this vow of following the Vaishnava principles, you will get a son who will be favorable to Indra. So this was the condition. The word Indraha refers to an asura who's always eager to kill Indra. An enemy of Indra is naturally a friend to the asuras. But the word Indraha also refers to one who follows Indra or who is obedient to him. When one becomes a devotee of Indra, he is certainly a friend to the demigods. The words Indra, Hadeva, Bandhava are equivocal. For they say, your son will kill Indra, but he will be very friendly to the demigods. If a person actually becomes a friend of the demigods, he certainly would not be able to kill Indra. So he used these words. See, he's a Muni, he's a sage, he cannot tell lie, but at the same time, he could not do whatever his wife wanted. So he had to go around and do the thing. Just like, not in the scriptures, but I read once a story. There was one girl who got married, and then she got a mother-in-law who was not very favorable and who would not treat her properly. So this girl, after marriage, after some time, 6 months or maybe a year later, he came home to her parents' house, and her father was a doctor. And then she cried in front of her father, telling that I'm in such a terrible situation in my in-laws' house, and my mother-in-law does this, and she's so bad, such a demoniac person. I want to kill her. So father listened to the whole story, and then father said, okay. And she asked father, give me a medicine, give me some medicine, some poison that I can just feed her and she would die. Father was an intelligent man. He said, okay, I'll give you medicine. But the problem is, if you just give her the medicine and she dies, then you will be under suspicion. Police will come and arrest you, and then they'll find out who gave you the medicine. Then I'll be under suspicion, and they'll come and arrest me also, and there'll be a big problem for everybody. So what is the point? So he said, tell you what, I'll give you a slow poison. You have to give her every day a little amount. So very slowly, slowly, slowly she dies. But meanwhile, so that nobody suspects what you're doing, what medicine you're giving, first of all, do not tell anybody and be very nice to her. So nobody suspects. And she was like, okay, just a matter of, father said it, within 6 months she will die. So it's only a matter of 6 months. It's okay. I can tolerate 6 months. So she came back home, and then she was very nice to her mother-in-law. But every day she would give a couple of drops of that medicine the father had given her. But she was very nice to mother-in-law, and she was serving her mother-in-law, taking care of the household nicely. And seeing her behavior, changed behavior, mother-in-law, of course, I mean, maybe she was not a bad person, maybe the situation was bad, whatever. But mother-in-law also started treating her daughter-in-law very nicely. That she looks after me, she looks after the house, she looks after the children, my son and her children very nicely. So mother-in-law was also very, very nice towards her. And mother-in-law gave her all the responsibilities of as far as money was concerned and everything. Slowly, slowly she gave it to her daughter-in-law. And by the time, then it was like 5 months or 5.5 months had passed. And now her daughter-in-law was thinking, oh, my father had given me the medicine. And although now, after 5 months, she stopped giving her mother-in-law that medicine, but she thought, my father had given the medicine, so definitely she's going to die. And then she was feeling bad that, oh, my mother-in-law is going to die, and police is not going to catch me, but certainly I will get punished. And why to kill such a gentle lady? She's such a nice person. So she went back to her father's and told her father that, father, please give me some antidote because I don't want her to die. She's such a nice person. Father said, relax. I didn't give you any poison. I just gave you water with sugar in it. That's all. There was no poison. There was no medicine at all. Only thing was, I wanted you to change your attitude towards her. And now you both are okay. So just go back, relax and go back. Nothing. I didn't give her any poison or any medicine, so nothing is going to happen. So same thing here. Kashyap Muni thought that let me try to change her consciousness. That's a better medicine than doing anything else. So Titiruvacha Dharishya Vratam Brahman Bruhi Karyani Yani Me Yani Chehe Nishiddhani Na Vratam Gnananti Yanyuta. Diti replied, my dear Brahman, I must accept your advice and follow the vow. Now let me understand what I have to do, what is forbidden and what will not break the vow. Please clearly state all this to me. As stated above, a woman is generally inclined to serve her own purposes. Kashyap Muni purposed to train Diti to fulfill her desires within 1 year. And since she was eager to kill Indra, she immediately agreed, saying, please let me know what the vow is and how I have to follow it. I promise that I shall do the needful and not break the vow. This is another side of a woman's psychology. Even though a woman is very fond of fulfilling her own plans, when someone instructs her, especially her husband, She innocently follows, and thus she can be trained for better purposes. By nature, a woman wants to be a follower of a man. Therefore, if the man is good, the woman can be trained for a good purpose. So that is why also one of the reasons husband is called a guru. And guru, first of all, he has to be properly situated, and then he can train the dependents on him, like his wife and children. He can train. He just has to adopt the proper process. Shri Kashyap Uvacha, na hinsyad bhut jatani, na shape na nirtam vadit, na chindya na kharomani, na sprished yad amangalam. Kashyapuni said, my dear wife, to follow this vow, do not be violent or cause harm to anyone for 1 full year. Do not curse anyone and do not speak lies. Do not cut your nails and hair and do not touch impure things like skulls and bones. Kashyap Muni's first instruction to his wife was not to be envious, means do not be violent or cause harm to anyone. The general tendency of anyone within this material world is to be envious, and therefore, to become a Krishna conscious person, one must curb this tendency, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. A Krishna conscious person is always non-envious, whereas others are always envious. Thus, Kashyap Muni's instruction that his wife not be envious indicates that this is the first stage of advancement in Krishna consciousness. Kashyap Muni desired to train his wife to be a Krishna conscious person, for this would suffice to protect both her and Indra. So first thing, don't be envious, don't be violent or cause harm to anyone. And just imagine for 1 year, if she has to follow this, and pretty much the idea is to make her a devotee and follow this process of complete goodness, mode of goodness. So definitely her heart will be in goodness after 1 year. Further, he says, Napsu snayanna kupyet, na sambhashet durjana, na vasita dhotavasa, srijam na vitritam kvachit. Kashyap Muni continued, my dear gentle wife, never enter the water while bathing, never be angry, and do not even speak or associate with wicked people. So he took off all the bad association also away from her. Never wear clothes that have not been properly washed, and do not put on a garland that has already been worn. So never wear clothes that have not been properly washed. Means do not put on any dirty clothes. So that is again the mode of goodness. Bringing her to the mode of goodness. That's why these devotional clothes, they are such that they are always in the mode of goodness, especially dhoti kurta or the sari or whatever Mataji wears, because you have to wash it pretty much every day. It's not like jeans you just keep on putting on for 6 months and don't need to wash it. That's really the cloth in mode of ignorance. But dhoti kurta, completely in goodness. Now chishtam chandikanam cha samisham vrishla punjito dakyaya drishtam vibhenanjalinatvapaha. Never eat leftover food. Simple. So means every time you have to cook, means that has to be in the mode of goodness. Never eat prasada offered to the goddess Kali, Durga, and do not eat anything contaminated by flesh or fish. Do not eat anything brought or touched by a Shudra, nor anything seen by a woman in a menstrual period. Do not drink water by joining your palms. Generally, the goddess Kali is offered food containing meat and fish, and therefore Kashyap Muni strictly forbade his wife to take the remnants of such food. Actually, a Vaishnava is not allowed to take any food offered to the demigods. A Vaishnava is always fixed in accepting prasad offered to Lord Vishnu. Through all these instructions, Kashyap Muni, in a negative way, instructed his wife, Diti, how to become a Vaishnavi. No uchishta sprishta salila sandhyaya muktamurtaja anarchitat sayatvaka na samvita bahischare. After eating, you should not go out to the street without having washed your mouth, hands, and feet. You should not go out in the evening or with your hair loose, nor should you go out unless you're properly decorated with ornaments. You should not leave the house unless you're very grave and sufficiently covered. So not like these days. Girls go out and pretty much no clothes or very little clothes or torn up clothes. I don't know what kind of fashion is going on. But these are the conditions to bring somebody to the mode of goodness. Kashyap Muni advised his wife not to go out onto the street unless she was very well decorated and well dressed. He did not encourage the miniskirts that have now become fashionable. In Oriental civilization, when a woman goes out into the street, she must be fully covered so that no man will recognize who she is. All these methods are to be accepted for purification. If one takes to Krishna consciousness, one is fully purified and thus one remains always transcendental to the contamination of material world. So, many times devotees or people talk about this burqa tradition among Muslims or hijab. So, in a way, they are not wrong. Like here, the Vedic scriptures, much before Islam came into practice, she should be covered up. So covered up so that, as we studied yesterday also, that women needs to be protected by the father, by the husband, or by their sons. And this is one sort of protection. But again, even if a woman is covered up and men still have their lusty eyes, even if somebody is covered, they can still have the lusty eyes and lusty desires. And no one can stop until the consciousness of men also is purified. But the consciousness is not purified. That's like in yesterday we studied, man should not be alone with his mother or sister or daughter because the senses are so strong. They can deviate. They can go astray. So even if a lady is covered on the street, because of the consciousness is not purified, she can still be the source of lusty desires for men. So both ways, the need is for purification. Nadhut pada prayata nardra pada udakshira shayit na paranga na nerna nagna na cha sandhyayo. You should not lie down without having washed both of your feet or without being purified, nor with wet feet or with your head pointed west or north. You should not lie naked or with any of the women or during the sunrise or sunset. Dhautvasa shunir nityam sarva mangala samyata pujayet pratarasha prag govipran shriyamachyutam. putting on washed clothing, being always pure and being adorned with turmeric, sandalwood bulb, and other auspicious items. Before breakfast, one should worship the cows, the Brahmas, the goddess of fortune, and the supreme personality of Godhead. If one is trained to honor and worship the cows and Brahmins, he is actually civilized. The worship of the Supreme Lord is recommended, and the Lord is very fond of the cows and the Brahmins. In other words, a civilization in which there is no respect for the cows and Brahmins is condemned. One cannot become spiritually advanced without acquiring the Brahminical qualifications and giving protection to cows. Cow protection ensures sufficient food prepared with milk, which is needed for an advanced civilization. One should not pollute civilization by eating the flesh of cows. A civilization must do something progressive, and then it is an Aryan civilization. Instead of killing the cow to eat flesh, civilized men must prepare various milk products that will enhance the condition of society. If one follows the Brahminical culture, he will become competent in Krishna consciousness. So he advised her to, before breakfast, means before early morning, worship the cows, Brahmins, Lakshmi, and Narayana. So means this instructions for her to become a perfect devotee, perfect Vaishnavi, and keep everything clean. And for 1 year, if somebody follows it properly, of course, in her heart, she wanted a son who would kill Indra, but she was still worshipping the Supreme Lord and following the instructions of her guru, Pati, or who's also a sage. Definitely, wonderful results will be there. So anyway, we'll stop here. We'll take it up tomorrow. See anybody has any question? So today is Narsim Chaturdashi, so you all please have a wonderful day. And as usual, we just like to chant more rounds for the pleasure of Lord Nrsimhadev and for his protection all over the world, for everybody is suffering. Everybody is suffering. So his protection is very much needed. So we can chant more and pray to him. Please bestow his mercy.
Same to you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.